Hey guys, my name is Zach, and today I'd like to talk with you about how you see potential in people for worship ministry before they're actually realizing their potential. So I've run into this a lot. Anecdotally, I've talked with a lot of pastors, worship leaders, new musicians, or people that are like, yeah, I'd love to learn an instrument, but I don't think I'm musical, who they just don't think they're capable. They write them off, and then nothing ever happens. Now, here's the problem with that. Is that Jesus didn't think like that. There were people who followed to listen to him, but they didn't actually follow him. They weren't committed. But at the same time, there were people like Peter that he invested in. He saw the potential. He says, you are going to be the rock on which I build my church. And this is what Peter's still kind of oftentimes a mixture of like insight and saying stupid stuff. Like it's the reality. We see that in Scripture, and I love how the Bible is so honest about the flaws in its characters, because that's real life. But we have people in our churches, and I guarantee that you do, who they don't believe they're capable of learning music. They don't believe they're capable of joining a worship team. And I would encourage you to think about it this way, is that for most people, I genuinely believe most people are capable of learning at least one instrument if they have the belief that they are capable, the drive to put in enough practice to do it, and encouragement and coaching along the way. If they have a pipeline and a process to follow. I am not saying everyone is capable. I have met people and run into people that, yeah, they audition and you go, oh man, like, I'm not saying it maybe if they put in a ton of work, but is it even worth it? Because they're going to probably, even if they put in lots and lots of time, there are people where you're like, it's very hard to see how this can work. And then sometimes as a worship leader, you do have to have the question of maybe there's a different ministry that God might have you for. I find this to be extremely rare, though, probably more rare than other worship leaders, I would imagine, because I tend to find, most people that I audition, if I give them a not yet answer, but I say, here's kind of a clear process I want you to follow, and I'm going to follow up with you, maybe like once a month, see how you're doing, try and guide this. I'm going to provide a resource for you is going to help so that I'm not having to explain it myself all the time, but I'm following up with them as they work through the resource. That many times they are capable of far more than other people in leadership gave them credit for as a possibility. And I see this on worship forums from people that had pastors as well, who they say they write this person off and then they end up being a key leader down the road. I had this happen for me as well. And the reality is that if you can learn to see potential the way Jesus sees potential in people, I'm not saying this in a humanistic perspective at all. This is actually a biblical concept of leadership development and developing teams and developing believers in discipleship. You've got to be able to see what people could look like if God transforms their life, what they could look like if they put in the time and effort to learn an instrument, what they could be capable of if they're coached in leadership. It is absolutely possible. And so that's really at the heart of what I would encourage you to do if you're a pastor, you're a worship leader, if you're a new musician who you are like, yeah, it'd be cool if I could serve on a worship team. I have a heart for it, but I just am not musical. Maybe it's possible that the potential exists in people, but there's either not the right tool to unlock that, there's not the right coaching to help draw it out, and there's not the belief that at a core level, it may in fact be true that God has given me something that it's just not unlocked, it's not discovered yet, but it may be lying in there, and God may want in His timing to draw it out. I find this happens a lot, and if you can have an open mind about it, you might be surprised about what God will do in your people if you are gently encouraging them to give an instrument a shot. So all this to say, I hope that's helpful. I'd really encourage you to look for potential in people and try and see people as Christ sees them. So I hope that's helpful. If If you like this video, like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.